Awesome. All right. Again, thank you guys for taking time out of your night to hop on here quickly. It will definitely not take long. We just wanted to go over some important stuff for senior year. Things are going to look a lot different this year, but they're also going to look, we're going to hope and work and try to make them look as similar as the previous years as possible. So we're going to talk about welcome and overview, senior year, important dates, which are a lot of TBAs, unfortunately, the whole college planning overview and application process. We're going to talk a little bit about the financial aid process, the do's and don'ts to senior year, and then if anyone obviously has questions. If you have questions midway through, you guys want to unmute yourself, you could definitely ask, or then I will be taking more questions at the end, whatever your preference is. So most of you guys know me, you met me. Unfortunately, I haven't met all of you yet. My email is on here. We all have new websites this year, so the link is there as well, and everything that I talk about in this video will all be posted there. And then this is my Google phone number. If you guys want to just screenshot this or take a picture of it so you all have this information, I'll leave it up for a second so you guys all have this, but again, it'll all be posted. The easiest way to get to the website is just go to the regular sugarcreek.org and either /Cooksey, my last name, or go to the directory and you'll see me and then it'll be right there. So we also have Miss Deas on this call. I'm not sure if Liv is on here yet, which is totally fine. You guys all know Mr. Liv, the director of CCR, Miss Deas, Student External Opportunities Coordinator. She'll be helping out a lot this year because it's going to take a village even more so than it normally would have if we weren't in school. Miss Deas, did you want to say anything? Okay. So senior year at Sugar Creek, this is generally what it looks like. Every student is going to apply to 3 to 10 schools. Every student is different. You guys all know that your children are different than others. So everyone's going to have their own individualized plan according to their goals and their aspirations. And we're going to go from there. I do want every student to apply to at least 1 scholarship per month between September and May. Students will be responsible for acquiring 2 letters of recommendation from teachers. Not myself, not Mr. Liv, not Ms. Deas, actual teachers. This actually should have already been completed in the spring. We did get a head start because I knew that with COVID it was going to be a little bit difficult. So that should have been already almost done, maybe a little bit done. They might have to just follow up, so that should be easy. Students are going to complete and sign their life plan for documentation and then follow whatever path that might be. All students will graduate this year and they are going to matriculate into some type of post-secondary training or education. That could be a career. Again, whatever is in that plan for them, whatever is going to best suit them is what they're hopefully going to do. Okay. So narrowing down the best college for you. A lot of students say this is a school I want to go to, and the reasoning behind that is kind of just they've heard good things or they know someone else that went there. We really want to focus on what the best fit is, and that's a whole broad spectrum. It's the best fit financially, it's the best fit academically, it's the best fit location-wise, maybe size is important, maybe internships, study abroad, whatever the best fit for you is. There are so many colleges in the country, and that makes it easy to find something that's best fit for you. So we're going to go in there with an open mind. We've been researching colleges for the last year. We started about last October in CCR. So the students are familiar. We use Naviance, we've used College Board to really narrow this down. And now, right before October, we're going to narrow that list down one more time and really get it perfect. So the application procedure process will be done almost entirely with myself in CCR and through private individual one-on-one meetings, whether that be Zoom or in person. And I'll get to that part. So I have a whole application procedure worksheet. If you came to school and got your folder, it's in there. If not, I will be at school tomorrow from 8 to 3. If you come pick it up, all of this will also be available digitally, but I know some people like having paper copies of things. I'm one of those people, so I figured I would make a folder and have it all organized for you guys. We're going to really be using the Common App, hopefully mostly, just to make it easier and mainstream it. But each school does have their own individual applications as well. Essays, every student wrote 6 essays last year. So those are the essays that we're going to be submitting. Hopefully, we're going to choose our favorite one, our best one, edit it one more time, and it'll be ready to get sent off. Ms. Deas has worked and made a new way to request official transcripts, which she'll get into. We have to send our ACT scores from the ACT that we took back in February. I will help you guys with that process as well. We're going to work on and focus on these deadline dates, really pay attention to when things are due, and then the save, don't send policy, which is, if you guys want to do work on your own, I highly encourage it. Save it, bring it to CCR, let someone look over it, and then we can send it off when we're ready. But we don't want to send anything prematurely. So this is a soft timeline. Between August and December, we're going to complete and submit our applications in CCR class. Ideally, they will be ready to get sent the week of free application week for most schools, which is going to be the week of October, I believe it's 19th. It's the week of fall break. So hopefully they'll all be ready to get sent right before that week. We're going to research and apply to scholarships, and we're going to complete our FAFSA in early October. Between January and March, students are going to receive acceptance letters, which is exciting, and that's going to have merit scholarship information notifications on there as well. These will be scholarships that they get based on their academics, their test scores, their essays, their whole application process, their transcripts, all based on that. At that point, students will be notified if they were selected for FAFSA verification. About 1/3 of every student that does the FAFSA winds up getting selected. Sometimes it's because of an error or an issue. Sometimes it's just completely random. But about approximately 1/3 of all students are selected. If you were selected for one school, if UNC Charlotte tells you you're selected for verification, you were also selected for verification at North Carolina State. If you were selected in one school, you were selected for all, they might just not be notifying you as quickly. Schools don't begin to look at your financial aid package until they've accepted you, because it's just too much work for them to do. So once they accept you, then they're going to pull your FAFSA, and if you've been selected for verification, they will let you know right then and there. And they might be asking for additional documentation at that point. If you were not selected, or if you were and you give them your documents, you'll get your financial aid package, your federal financial aid package, from like late February to March. In a perfect world, hopefully all of that will go just like that. Between April and May, students and parents will review all the information that we get, we'll collaborate together, we'll make the final best decision, and then we'll get ready to send off those enrollment deposits. So Financial Aid 101. Financial aid is designed to provide assistance for making college more affordable. We're going to complete the FAFSA in early October. It opens on October 1st, and follow up with any additional steps. This is verification. You're going to hear that word a lot because it is kind of annoying. So we just want to make sure everything's perfect. We want our students to have the best opportunities, and we don't want us to be waiting next summer right before they're about to go somewhere and still be, following up with paperwork. So we know a lot about it at school, so we'll help you as much as we can to get everything in order. We're going to apply for the FAFSA early. It can be completed on or after October 1st of 2020. I know in the past we've had students and families come in and do them together with us in person. That is still the plan. Hopefully, as of now, everything stays the same. We'll be able to come into school. It might look a little bit different. We'll just have definitely scheduled appointments, but we're definitely going to try to have you guys come on in and all do it together to make sure everything's accurate and perfect. I recommend everyone applying for scholarships. We'll be doing that in CCR as well. fastweb.org and scholarships.com are two of the best from what I've found. I encourage students to develop a relationship with the financial aid office. I used to work in a financial aid office, which is why my background is so knowledgeable in financial aid. And if you really develop a relationship with them, you'll not only get to understand the interworkings of that office specifically, but you'll understand the jargon a little bit better, and people are always a little bit more willing to advocate for you if you're advocating for yourself. So We're also going to consider the long-term investment in this as well. And that really comes into finding that best fit and not just the school that we thought that we wanted to go to. So a little bit more on financial aid. We have federal aid, which is all based on the FAFSA. It's awarded to students based on their EFC, which is their estimated family contribution. So you're going to put all of your information in the FAFSA on October 1st. You're going to get a number, your EFC. If that number is 0, you'll get the maximum federal financial aid. If that number is higher, it's all going to adjust. You won't get your exact package then, you're just going to get your EFC, and then you might have an idea of what you could be awarded once that comes out. The package will be compiled of an arrangement of student loans and possibly grants, depending on that financial need with that EFC. And then we obviously have merit-based scholarships, which is awarded upon admission based on your transcript and your test scores. That's what's going to come with your acceptance letter, and then your financial aid will come, your federal financial aid will come a little bit later. Other aid options that students always have are outside scholarships and then private loans, but we'll get into all that as well. So your federal aid package, again, will be compiled of those loans and those grants. The student loans are $5,500 maximum for freshman year. It only goes up to $6,500, $7,500, $7,500. So students are not able to take out massive loans. The yellow highlight are the interest rates for the 2020-2021 year, the current year. If you look to the right of the screen, you'll see the rates from the year before. They are drastically different due to the pandemic going on, so I just wanted to give you, able to see both of those. The Parent Plus loan is 5.3% this year. The Pell Grant maximum, which is a grant, does not need to be paid back, is $6,345 per year. And SCOG is $4,000 per year. So if you do your FAFSA, you get that EFC of 0, you're likely to get that entire $6,345 and that entire $4,000 for the year. Every student is eligible for those loans. The only difference where it comes to need is how much is subsidized and how much is unsubsidized. The subsidized loans do not accrue any interest until the student is done with school. The unsubsidized loans will start to accrue interest immediately. Does anyone have questions so far? Because I know that was a lot. Okay. So I will turn it over to Ms. Deas for this slide. We'll talk a little bit more about cost.
Good evening, everyone. So again, I am here to talk about planning and cost. So starting off, the first thing, as you're going through the process, you'll need to send your ACT scores to the college. Well, excuse me, you won't need to. Some of the schools this year are not requiring ACT scores or SAT scores, but if they are, and they want it directly from the ACT, then that would be $13 per school. So every time that a school requests your ACT and it has to come directly from the ACT website, that'll be $13 per school. Then you'll have Jostens. I have spoken to our representative from Jostens. We made the agreement that he does have a video for you guys that will offer your package and give you details about what's required for this year as far as your cap and gown and other things that normally come with the package. We always offer a Wildcat package, which usually includes your cap and gown, your like the t-shirts, your invitations, your announcements, all those type of things. You can additionally still do the class ring. He will offer that package again for us. We have a spot on their website just catered to our school and what we offer. But we decided to wait till September so we can first get acclimated with the school year and kind of have this virtual thing is going. And then from there, you'll have until about April to pay it off. And that way we can still, because it is our plan, as long as everything goes well, to still have graduation in whatever format. Some of you saw last year we did a drive-in. I've heard that it was of the best ones out of the 3 that we've had. So we may go with that format again, or whether it's back in a venue, we will do something to make sure that we commemorate the class of 2021. So May the 1st is National College Decision Day. That is something that is not necessarily SCCS required. Is required by your schools. The problem with May 1st, or not necessarily the problem, but the big part of May 1st is you have to submit to them, whether it's through your portal or some type of email acknowledgement that you're coming, because you could very well end up on a waiting list if you wait till May the 2nd. And believe me, we've had that happen before. So you have to make sure that you have that decision. Some schools don't require it. Some schools did push it back this year because of COVID. But it is important that you stick with that. And so with that being said, like Ms. Cooksey said, verification comes up, and me being a part of every senior class that Sugar Creek has had, I have seen it, and I've seen it with probably 75% of our students. And if you're not checking your emails regularly, you will miss that opportunity. You'll miss that email about verification, and that can mess up your chances of going when it's time to go. I have a few students this year, last year, and previous years who haven't been able to leave on time and had to go a different semester because they got pulled for verification, waited to the last minute to check their email, didn't see it, and it pushed back their financial aid. So make sure that it becomes a habit to check your email. Whatever email you put on these college applications, check your emails frequently. So the next few things will have a TBA by them. That is because it's still a pandemic outside and we're unsure. So with that being said, a lot of it will come up, we're hoping in January, to push out more dates and have a better plan of things, but we won't know for certain until it gets time. So my suggestion for the next couple of things that I mentioned is just save. If you're working as a student, save. Parents, if you're preparing for this year, save, because unfortunately, all of it comes up in the spring. Starting in about April through June, you're getting hit back to back with various things. And that's the point of this slide, is just to give you a heads up on those things. So next up, we'll have SCCS Decision Day. And never normally falls the week of or after the National College Decision Day. And that's just to give us time, because some students are still getting things in as of April 29th. And we want to make sure that everyone has the plan that they want, that they're going to announce, and not forcing a decision just to put something out. Decision Day in the past has been inside of the gym at the high school. Last year we did it virtual because of the pandemic. Again, we'll do whatever is best for our students, but making sure that we celebrate them. Senior week, that could range from going on, having a cookout, to different activities, but it's literally a week that we try to celebrate the students. Unfortunately, the class of 2020 missed that opportunity last year because we were hit with the pandemic at that time. But we did have a plan for it. And so again, that's something we'll announce in January. I am still planning to have senior class council. The advisors have been getting together to format that and have a plan for when we'll have meetings and things. If you went to Mrs. Wiggins, open house the other night and you heard from Ms. Wiggins, we are having Enrichment Fridays. And as of right now, that's our plan, to have senior council meet during that time. And we still want to plan so that if we are able to get back in the building, there's no restrictions and things like that. We want to make sure that we're planning that week so that if we are able to have it, it won't be last minute, and so that you guys will get notification as quickly as possible. Same thing will happen with prom. Is never my goal to go over more than $50. A lot of that has to do with the prices for venues versus the size of Sugar Creek don't match up. So I do the best I can to try to find a venue that will allow for us to have a really nice prom, but at the same time not cost a lot. So I would anticipate around $50 for a prom ticket if we're able to have prom. Senior trip, same situation. Senior trip is usually definitely geared towards the seniors and parents planning that. But if we do have a hand in it in Sugar Creek, again, that'll be something that'll kind of have to happen once the pandemic is lifted with no restrictions. Graduation this year will be in June. As of now, the last day of school is June 4th. We normally have graduation 2 weeks, the Saturday 2 weeks after the last day of school. That is not planned just yet. Again, a lot of next semester has yet to be planned just because we're trying to focus on getting everything started. But as soon as a date is released, of course, we will let you know, because it does go in your diploma, it does go in your announcements if you choose to order those, invitations, and so on. And plus, we want to make sure that if we are able to be in a building, that you have enough time to tell family members. And the same thing, even if it's virtual. Last year, we encouraged a lot of watch parties because we were able to stream it live on YouTube. And so we want to make sure that you have a heads up so that if you want to have your own cookout in your backyard with family, that's something that you'll be able to do. So other miscellaneous costs, cords and stoles, that's something that we still did for graduation. We wanted to make sure they had everything that they needed on graduation and still look good. So we'll still have cords and stoles. If we are able to get back in the building, there's no restrictions second semester, and we have a sport to actually celebrate, we'll do homecoming, because we want to make sure that even if, for those of us that are in the building and those who want to come back are able to be celebrated as well. Senior pictures, that's been the biggest question. As of right now, the company that we work with for senior pictures is planning for a January date. Again, we will put that out with plenty of notice so that you can get your hair done, come up with your outfits if you choose to do the different sessions. The way senior pictures works is it requires $40 for a sitting fee if you want to go to all of the cameras, all the photographers for the different shots. And then if you don't, you just want to come and take your cap and gown, that's totally for free. Cap and gown is mandatory. Excuse me, not cap and gown, the drape, which is the black drape for the ladies and the tux and tie for the males, or whichever you prefer. And then last but not least, the biggest cost, in my opinion, towards the end of it all that sometimes we're not as aware of, and I try to make sure I put on this slide, are your college fees. And that can range from 3 different areas, or it could be small. So it's starting out with housing. A lot of schools will want their deposit to basically secure the housing that you want. So that could be a single, that could be a double, that could be a suite. It can be community style, but in order to try to get the housing that you want, you have to make that deposit. And then some schools are really at capacity, and so to ensure that you're going to have a dorm room, you want to make sure you pay that fee. Additionally, they have orientation. I've seen $65, even with the pandemic this year and going virtual. I saw $65, and then when we weren't in a pandemic, I saw $275. So it ranges, and that's just for the orientation fee, for you to come in, have a day where you learn the ins and outs of the college and get an idea of all of it. Sometimes parents are there, sometimes you stay overnight, it ranges. And then plus your enrollment. There's also a deposit sometimes that is required of the school. One, application fee to apply to that school may be out there. Sometimes, of course, we ask for waivers for certain schools and some don't. And then also to save your spot at the school that says, I'm definitely coming, is that enrollment deposit. So as I said, you want to make sure that you are planning as you go, saving as you go, because it can be a very costly year. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do it this year. We normally try to have a junior night so we can kind of give you a heads up so that if you were working during the summer, you could save your money. But hopefully this is still enough time because we're not going to roll out a lot of things until about January or later that you can save. The few pointers that I have, again, is just remember to check your emails. And to make sure that you're on GroupMe and Remind, especially the students, parents, making sure that you're on Remind, because that's going to be our means of communication outside of Mrs. Cooksey's class to make sure that we're getting this information out to you. So I wouldn't want for senior pictures to come up in January, and because you're not in GroupMe or Remind, you never got the heads up, and then you don't get those pictures, because I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if there'll be a second chance or however, and I just don't want you to miss out on opportunities. And last but not least, I would just say trust the process. You guys are very fortunate in that I have younger cousins in CMS and other places, and they don't necessarily always get the help that we try to provide for you guys. Luckily, myself and Mr. Livingston have been a part of all 3 classes. We've been able to come up with 100% of getting accepted to at least 1 4-year college or university, and then they make sure to have a plan. I stay with you guys a year after at least as an alumni coordinator. So I make sure that your transition to whatever your plan is, whether it's career or college, that you are able to transition well and try to help you with all those resources. And then this year we've been blessed to have Ms. Cooksey, who is like the financial aid guru. And so that's helped us out a lot. She's helped our former students. I've called her in for a couple students from the class of 2018. And I know that she would be extremely helpful to you guys. So just trust the process. If you feel like Ms. Cooksey is overwhelmed and she's not helping you, you have me, you have Liv, and we're just here to help you guys. But just trust the process and trust that she knows what she's doing, and that we have you guys' best interest in heart.
Thanks, Deas. She's absolutely right with every single thing she said. Again, I worked in the college setting, so I have seen both sides. The fees can all really add up at the end of it. And unfortunately, a lot of parents just aren't aware of that previously. CTR is going to look a lot different for you guys. I know typically it's a class and we do lessons, we have projects and things like that. Don't expect any of that this year. Don't expect any of that senior year, even if we were in person. It is all college for the next few months. That is basically all we're going to be doing until January, is college applications in class. I know it'll look differently than being in person in class, but Liv and I have already come up with some cool ways we're going to do it on Zoom, and trust the process. We're going to make it work. However we make it work, we're going to make it work. It is extremely important to keep up with the GroupMe, keep up with Remind. I did have a student ask me, and this wasn't something I thought about, if we were going to have a GroupMe for parents. That's not something that I think I'm able to take on right now, just because we have 1,000 online platforms, but I would be open if any parent wants to almost them have their own group meet, and I can relay the information and they could be a helper. I'm not really sure. This is the first time we've really ever done it like this virtually. So any and all ideas you guys have, I am more than willing to take, and we can see what we can do. We're going to support each other. We're going to support the students through all of their choices for senior year. We're going to do all of our research thoroughly and make sure we know exactly what we're doing and what we're applying for in different schools. If we can visit schools on the weekends, I highly encourage you to, but I know it really might not be possible. Sorry. Gather your tax documents early. We've had students in and out of CCR all the last 2 weeks who are previous graduates who are still trying to get their tax documents together for this verification. If we have our tax documents all in order, all ready to go, in case it happens, it'll just be easier for everyone in the long run. Search for scholarships. If you guys hear of anything that I might not know of, let me know, and then I'll obviously do the same for you guys. And then I know our students have been working all summer and all during the pandemic, so let's please try to save some of this money. You will need it later on. I know we're super anxious to get through this process. Do not rush it. Please trust the process. We're going to do it all together. Like I said, we're not going to pressure anyone into making decisions prematurely. I know for a fact that students are getting emails from schools. Apply now, apply now, apply now. Free. It'll be a free application. Don't submit an essay. Don't worry about it. We'll give you a decision. Unfortunately, the schools are struggling just as much as a lot of these businesses, and they're salesmen at the end of the day. These college admissions reps are trying to sell you on the school because if they have more students apply than usual, then they'll have a bigger pool, and then they might have more students actually not only get accepted, but actually decide to deposit next May. Don't rush it. We're going to get the waivers. We're going to hopefully have everything done on free app week and just all send them together once they're correct. I've seen such small errors being made on college applications, and schools either don't accept you or they will accept you because, again, they do want the numbers in the end, but they just might not give you the scholarship that you really could deserve. A lot of schools will say, oh, the essay is optional, or, we're not requiring one. It could be supplemental. But the more information you give them to evaluate on, the better off that you are, especially since we only took one ACT score, and a lot of schools are not going to be taking the ACT just for the simple fact that a lot of students weren't able to take one at all. Just the timeline and, different states were affected differently. So I really encourage that. Another thing that I really want to touch on is, Deas mentioned it, checking your emails and reading them thoroughly. A lot of times, if a school wants to tell you something, they're going to put it on your portal. So they might just email you and saying, oh, you have a message on your portal. So then you have to stop and you have to go and check your portal, but they're not just going to, give you the message in the email. So a lot of times it is multi-stepped, but really read it thoroughly, really check them through. If you don't have an email address that's your first and your last name or something of that nature, and it's something maybe we shouldn't be sending to professional things or colleges, change it now, make a new one, create a whole new Gmail just for college stuff, just for professional stuff, and it'll just clear out all the other probably junk mail that you've been getting from other things for the last few years. If you have questions, email me, call me, talk to me in CCR next week. School starts Monday. The summer is over, and I will leave you guys to the rest of your night. If anyone has any questions, feel free to stick around. If not, I will see you all next week.